Hello everyone, today we are going to review the movie Hold the Dark. Now I just came kind of across this because I guess most of my movies are kind of action or crime based, it seems, lately, so I've kind of been mixing and matching in between. In a way, or thrillers and horror movies, I have those mixed in as well on my Netflix list. So yeah, there's a very is the right word eclectic mixture of films in my Netflix list for movies. Anyhow, this movie was really good. It always kept you guessing as to what was going to happen next and who was going to die next, because there was more than its fair share of death in this movie, that's for sure. So this movie starts off with this mother writing this note to an author who wrote this book called Hold the Dark, the title of the film as well. And he talks about going out and I guess he hunting wolves, and he ended up killing one during his hunt, and he never, I guess he felt sympathy for the animal, so he never hunted wolves again or something. Anyway, she's asking him to come out due to the fact that her son went missing 3 days ago. She said that he was taken by wolves. So she asks him to come out and hunt this wolf that took her son, or at least track it down to at least show her husband, when he gets back from the war overseas, that she has something to show for her son's disappearance. He has no idea that his son has passed away, obviously, because he's overseas. She never called him to let him know. So this author is trying to track down this wolf to figure out what's going on. And then when he comes back that day, the day that he goes out to track the wolf, she's gone, and there was a scene at the beginning where she locks this extra room to the house. Now, this film is set in Alaska, I should probably say that, so it's a very remote little town that they're in. It's maybe like 20-30 people in this small town, or village, I guess you could say. A lot of it was, a lot of the townsfolk were native, if that's, yeah, most of the townsfolk were native except for her and her husband, who I believe were, they said their nationality in the film at one point, but I can't remember. Anyway, so they're living in that town as well, if I could remember the name of the town. They had some very strange names for the towns. Anyway, it is Alaska, so it's like a very remote. There's not very many people that live in Alaska anyway, full time, that's for sure. So anyhow, he goes out, tracks this wolf, finds them eating one of their own, because obviously they have very limited food sources out there. So sometimes they have to feed on their young. He goes back to the house and finds the lock on the room from the beginning of the movie busted. And he goes down and finds the boy and realizes that he's been strangled. The movie is very weird in spots, especially the mother. I guess the night that I think it might have been the second night that he stayed in the house with her, you can hear her talking about the boy while she's taking a bath, and then she comes out with a mask on and lays down with the author. It was just a very strange scene. Anyhow, so she disappears. The husband gets shot in the line of duty wherever he was stationed overseas. So he comes back, finds out his son is dead, and goes after the wife. One of his buddies lost his daughter as well. I'm assuming in the same way. There's this old lady there that talks a lot about the wolves, and I'm not sure whether she's referring to the actual wolves or they perform some sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? I had it in my head too before I started this review. Some sort of like ritual maybe that they perform, and they call themselves wolves, or they feel connected with the wolves, so they act as the wolves. It's kind of like one of the impressions I got in this movie, that like they themselves thought that they were connected with the wolves, so they acted the same as the wolves and killed their young to sort of sustain their own way of life. Kind of a strange concept, but I guess maybe that was the point of them killing their child, so that they could live the life they wanted to live instead of having to deal with that burden, maybe. Kind of a strange concept, but I guess maybe that was the closest I can think as to why they would have done it. So anyway, or why she would have done it, I guess. Um, or they, yeah, because at the end of the movie, when he finally tracks her down, the husband, they leave together and go back and unbury the boy and take the coffin away with them. So it was kind of a strange thing. And he put some sort of markings on it when he buried it in the snow after he kills 2 cops and the coroner and takes the body away. So now they know that he's going after the wife. And the one scene with his friend who lost his daughter, he ends up killing a whole bunch of cops. Unfortunately, he dies because he said he wasn't going down without a fight. He wasn't going to come out with his hands up. So he opens the top door to his house, or like swing windows or whatever, and just starts firing on all the cops, injuring a lot of them and killing a few of them. So that was a pretty brutal scene. There were a lot of brutal death scenes in this movie, and it seems wherever the woman's husband goes, somebody dies. He kills pretty much everybody on his path to find her, except for the one woman who owned the inn that he went to in another small town. But I guess that was maybe because she was shooting at him, so he was just trying to get out of there. After he killed one of the, I guess it was like I don't know whether you would say shaman or something, kind of along those lines. But yeah, he finds like his own mask that looks kind of like a wolf as well, and he wears it throughout the rest of the movie. So I guess maybe it was sort of like some sort of like strange ritual between within that town that they performed, killing the children so that they could live their life the way they wanted to without kids. It seems kind of weird because the one conversation between the cop and the husband's friend was talking about how it was going to be a ghost town in a few years, because when the kids die, there was something about the kids dying anyway that, yeah, I guess put a burden on them. But yeah, it was very strange. That's the only thing I can think of, is that they killed the kids because they wanted to live like wolves. So they were going into their animalistic instincts, I guess, and living the way they wanted to without their young. It's very strange. But anyhow, at the end of the movie, they are able to track down the wife before the husband is, but then obviously the husband catches up with them and kills the one cop who was going to finally take his wife on vacation, because the other guy threatened his wife earlier on in the movie before he died. So you know that there's definitely something more going on than everybody else is letting on. Clearly, there's different rules in this town as opposed to the regular rules, because they talk about cops dying, I guess, is like a not that doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. It's more like a good thing to these people that cops die. It was just very strange concepts in this movie, but still a very good movie, and I do highly recommend it. I just wish they kind of explained more as to why they killed their own son in the end of the movie, and I'm assuming that's what these other people had done. So I guess maybe he was just tying up loose ends to. The husband was just tying up loose ends to get rid of anybody talking about what they actually did. So he just kind of went from town to town to tie up all the loose ends before him and his wife went away together. Seems kind of odd, but I mean, I guess in a way that makes sense too, so that it seemed like it wasn't the two of them together, it was just his wife killing the boy, and then he was going to go after her and kill her, but turns out that wasn't the plan at all. They were just going to run away together because they had this spot that they said they could live together forever in, and I guess they didn't want to do that with the child. They just wanted to live with one another. So the author lives at the end, and he finally gets to see his daughter, which was another reason he decided to come up to Alaska, because she was in another small town teaching, and he hadn't seen her in clearly a very long time, because he does phone her from the hotel and asks if he can speak with her, but she does come to the hospital at the end, and then she asks him to tell her what happened, so that's where the movie ends. Still a very good movie. There were lots of twists and turns. It keeps you guessing as to what's going to happen next, and a lot of death in this movie. And it definitely did have its like thriller aspect, because you weren't really sure what had happened to the kid in the beginning of the movie, but I had my suspicions that it was probably the mother who had killed him, and she was just blaming it on the wolves to make it look like it was an accident. And I bet you she probably wasn't thinking that she was going to get caught, or maybe that was part of the plan too, so that they could just wipe out everybody. Anyhow, I'll give this movie an 8 out of 10, just because I wish they had have explained a little bit more as to why they were killing everybody. But my best guess is what I've already said. So yeah, maybe that was the reason. But I guess maybe that kind of adds to the movie a little bit, because it just keeps you guessing. They want the wheels to turn inside your brain. So anyhow, yeah, 8 out of 10 for this movie, just because it was a little confusing at the end. But maybe I'll have to go back and watch this, because there might have been a few things I missed. But anyhow, I think I've literally covered everything that I can about this film. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I will and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it, and comment if I missed anything that anybody might have picked up on that I just didn't see, or just missed in conversations possibly. But yeah, and that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.